I used to think it was the Obama administration, but boy, Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
Really? Did you have a high opinion of him before?
I did. Yeah, I did, just as an intelligent person, a statesman. I felt like he's probably caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change.
Wow, how could Trump, equivocate on this whole thing? And then it took just a little bit of digging, just a little bit, because all you have to do is extend the clip 45 seconds.
Joe Rogan is now taking aim at Barack Obama, arguing that the former president ultimately damaged his own legacy. According to Rogan, when Obama first ran for the White House, he leaned heavily into identity politics, and it worked. Large parts of the country were drawn in by that message. Later, Kamala Harris attempted to use a similar playbook, but this time it failed badly. Rogan claims that failure can be traced back to Obama's political strategy, and he lays out his case clearly, using clips to support his argument.
The government. But which is such a weird thing to say. I used to think it was the Obama administration, but boy, Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
Really? Did you have a high opinion of him before?
I did. Yeah, I did, just as an intelligent person, a statesman. I felt like he's probably caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You think you're going to do something, and then you get into office, and you're like, oh God, what a quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie about Trump, the thing that got me was that very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing. They just kept trying to say that he was a racist, which is this thing that I think worked in 2017.
Joe Rogan reflected on a time during the lead-up to the election when he says he took Barack Obama at his word, and he insists he wasn't alone. According to Rogan, more than half the country followed that same path, even while feeling uncertain. Many people accepted the idea that Donald Trump was a fascist, a racist, and even a white supremacist. Those labels were repeated so often, from so many directions, that they began to feel like established facts rather than political talking points. Rogan argues that the goal was simple: shape how people viewed Trump before they had the chance to decide for themselves. Once that image was locked in, questioning it became socially unacceptable, and anyone who pushed back was quickly placed in the same box. Looking back, Rogan describes it as a wake-up moment, illustrating how easily public opinion can be shaped when influential voices speak with confidence and media outlets echo the message without serious challenge.
Yeah.
I think it worked back then. I don't think it works anymore. I don't think people believe it anymore. I think that we've gotten numb to all this stuff.
It's the sky is falling.
Yeah.
Cry wolf or whatever. It's you guys can only call me a fascist.
Rogan now says that almost no one believes that story anymore, and that the loss of trust played a major role in why voters moved toward Trump. After years of constant accusations and dramatic warnings, people began to notice a pattern, the same extreme claims resurfacing again and again. For many voters, everyday life never matched the level of panic being promoted. What once sounded convincing slowly started to feel forced and scripted. Rogan argues that much of what was said about Trump wasn't a fair assessment but a political strategy designed to stir emotions and maintain power for figures like Obama and later Kamala Harris. Over time, voters didn't just grow doubtful, they became resistant and eventually pushed back. Rogan describes last year's election as a breaking point, saying many voters rejected fear-driven messaging instead of accepting it. According to him, the election marked a turning point, with Americans increasingly brushing aside scare tactics, media groupthink, and political spin, reacting not only to the candidates themselves, but to a deeper mistrust of the narratives being presented to them.
She also has been saying something really crazy. She's been saying that this is the closest race of the 21st century, and that it wasn't a mandate. That's just not true.
It's not true.
Gore and Bush was much closer.
Yes.
I think that was a 0.5%.
Yes. I don't know why she keeps saying this.
It's just a lie. And then also she's leaving out the fact that she lost every swing state, every single one.
Yeah.
So what are you talking about?
I know.
He won the popular vote and he won the electoral college vote, and that's a mandate. Say that it's not a mandate. It's but it's almost like if you say it to the converted, that they're going to listen and repeat it. Yeah, he barely won.
Right.
No, he won. won every swing state.
Rogan says Kamala Harris and the Democratic National Committee are still shaken by how badly they lost in last year's election. He argues that simple embarrassment helps explain why some leaders appear to struggle with accepting the result and what it revealed about voters, adding that anyone in Harris's position would likely feel the same way. Losing is painful, and losing by a wide margin is an even harsher reality check, but discomfort doesn't change the facts. The truth remains the truth, whether people want to face it or not. Rogan maintains that admitting a clear defeat is often the first real step toward rebuilding trust and making a serious comeback. In his view, that requires honest reflection, taking responsibility, and being truthful, because you can't fix a problem if you refuse to admit it exists. Until the Democratic National Committee openly confronts where it went wrong, why its message failed, and why voters turned away, Rogan believes it risks repeating the same mistakes. Political recovery, he says, doesn't begin with denial. It begins with humility, self-awareness, and a willingness to change course instead of shifting blame.
He took credit for the no tax on tips thing as well.
That's hilarious, because that was clearly his.
Clearly.
He said it first, they copied it.
It's amazing.
Did she really say that in the book?
I haven't read it, but I have heard from someone who did read it that she did. So
she had an address not coming on here in the book, too.
Rogan then shifted his focus to Kamala Harris, criticizing her for attempting to take credit for the so-called no tax on tips policy. He argues that anyone who follows politics with even a basic level of honesty knows that the idea, at least as it has been promoted in recent years, originated with President Trump and was not a long-standing Democratic position. According to Rogan, it was a campaign message Trump used deliberately, and it resonated strongly with working-class voters. Rogan contends that Harris tried to rewrite that history, assuming voters wouldn't notice the shift. To him, it was another example of political spin, and one that ultimately failed because people didn't accept it, a reality he says was reflected in the election results. What bothered Rogan most, however, was that this pattern of behavior
Her team is not truthful about that encounter at all. They never committed to doing the show, ever. They said that, I said that I had a personal day, which is not true. I said I am not available the day that Trump was here. I said that day's not. I didn't say that I was have a personal day. They just made that up. And then they also said that they sent someone here to go through the studio, like sent someone to do a walkthrough. Yeah. Not true. Not true.
How can it's just you repeat it and you say it and your side believes it.
Why would they do that when I can just say that's not true?
Rogan says that even after the defeat, Harris continued trying to take credit for ideas and policies that were never hers. He doesn't see that as confidence. To him, it looks like denial and an unwillingness to face political reality. You would think there would be a line drawn at claiming ownership of policies you didn't create, but Rogan argues that line was never drawn. He also says her team tried to twist the story surrounding his podcast. There was a major public push for Kamala Harris to sit down with Rogan, yet the interview never happened. The official explanation, widely circulated, claimed Rogan took a personal day on the exact date the interview was scheduled, and that version spread quickly and was treated as fact. Rogan now says that story isn't true. Instead of admitting the interview fell apart on their side, he claims the campaign chose to shift the blame and promote a different narrative.
Yeah, why would I lie? I have no reason to lie.
It would have been interesting to...
If I her over, I would tell the truth.
Yeah.
If I was like, we lied, we told her I was taking a personal day, but realized I wanted to get Trump in. Not true. I tried to do both of them in the same day. That was my idea. My idea was to do Trump during the day, and then her to come. She had a thing she was doing in Houston. After the thing with Houston, I go, I'll do it at midnight. I don't care. We'll do it whenever you want to do it.
Yeah.
While you're in Texas, but I just can't do during the day because Trump's going to be there.
Yeah.
But they had to. The Secret Service there's 200 guys here. They had
in Texas.
No, in this studio. There's 200 people here for Trump.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. It was packed.
Honestly, it's hard not to think that Kamala Harris simply didn't want to face Rogan's platform directly. Joe Rogan isn't known for soft, scripted questions, and he doesn't stay inside anyone's comfort zone. His interviews are long, unscripted, and unpredictable, the exact kind of environment